Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Van Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Uh-huh. So come get some.
First world, come in and take a seat. Pay us no attention, it's all conspiracy. We have satire and parody, some funny, some perverse. If none of it's offensive to you, you'd be the first.
Fairview's coffee has mysteriously gone missing. Mayhem ensues when strange, coffee-craving zombies plague the city. Detective Mickey Potatoes, an overworked public servant, uncovers why ordinary citizens are losing their minds and how to stop the coffee apocalypse. But it involves the mafia. And when you're dealing with mafia crime families, nothing is ever easy. The mafia controls everything in the city, including the police, including him. If he breaks the mafia, they will break him. So, the city is without coffee. The city is burning before his very eyes, but he's powerless. Detective Potatoes has the power to stop the coffee apocalypse, but if he does, he could lose everything.
And hello.
What's up?
Welcome to yeah. And then my voice was out right as I tried to say your name.
I'm here. Nice to meet you. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that a lot myself today because I overcame the coof just some time ago, so it's still coming out. So,
well, this is vocal cord dysfunction, which means it just randomly doesn't work right when I try to do things. So it had to pick as I'm trying to do the intro because it can't work out easy.
Aww.
Oh well,
sorry.
That's life, right?
We're here. How are you doing?
Not too bad. I hopefully here to talk a bit about what you're doing right now and finish up jewelry projects.
Sweet.
Always making stuff for something, right?
That's cool.
So what have you been doing with your project here?
Okay, I might actually share it. I think
Increment.
I think this might be it. I just hope it works properly. Is it good?
So far.
So yeah, this is Bonds, the Cursed Child. It's the second installment of the book. The whole series is going to be called Bonds. We're successfully funded, but I'm sorry.
Sounds interesting. Sounds
Yeah,
crazy interesting kind, which is always fun.
it's actually really cool. I'm actually playing with the idea of a different take on the whole werewolf topic, because the most of the comics that you've seen around the area were like werewolves who have their human shape or form. You know, the lycanthropy. Mine are more of skinwalker types, you know. So basically, my werewolves are either human or they change fully into the wolves, which
You
I
got me
think.
at Skinwalker. I've been working on projects involving that kind of hush hush right now. So
Ooh, good.
I'm trying to find people for this because I have this whole scheme that's going to actually be kind of interesting if I can make it happen.
We'll see. Yeah, well, I would like to see your take on the whole skinwalker topic. Yeah.
I have an interesting view on it because my family, my tribe is on the Lakota side, which tends to kind of very contrary social religious beliefs than Navajo. But I've always kind of found some of the southern tribes fascinating from a cultural, religious perspective. So it'll be kind of interesting because it'll kind of combine the different tribes.
That's gonna be really cool. Yeah, but yeah, I'm actually very interested in the culture, mostly probably in the like the animal part and the spiritual part, the animal spirits that they've been like worshiping, you know, or inclining to speaking, you know, with. I think it might be really cool.
I get that actually. That makes sense. And when I say that makes sense, I'm sitting here going, my brain doesn't, and I'm trying to make sense of stuff I'm trying to put together. So
Aw.
please don't mind me, as I'm a little ditzy.
It's okay. It's really okay. I just
Welcome, Rio.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hi guys in the chat. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like every single stream I get to, I'm a little bit nervous because it's not really my natural environment, so it's kind of weird. So
I was
I mean,
that way when I started. In fact, the first time I got pulled onto a couple big channels, I was so nervous as all get out that they kept having to put me backstage so I could calm down, or at least hide my image from the rest of the stream.
yeah, you can. It helps a little bit, yeah.
It's like you come in front of people, and now it's just like, yeah, I'm in front of you. So what?
Yeah, that's a new thing. That's a new thing. So I mean, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to play the trailer, which was made by
Go ahead.
Red Gates. Okay, let's try. Let me know if you can hear it.
Red Gaze, huh?
Yes.
Been a while since I talked to him. Yeah, it looks actually pretty good there. That's cool. And you're muted.
I'm sorry. I always mute myself when it's not like automatic. So yeah, I just say that I'm very thankful because he did the trailers even for the first book, and he helped a lot with the first campaign, and he's also helping a lot with the second one. So it's just nice to know that you're not doing it completely alone because I know that many campaigns are done by multiple people, but Bonds is pretty much just done by me. And of course, like Red Gaze is also contributing with stuff. I'm gonna tell a little bit more further on, but I don't know if you're interested, like story wise. It's basically about a girl who lost her parents, a werewolf girl who lost her parents during a great war between humankind and werewolf nation.
And have you talked to Piper about this one?
Piper actually already backed this. Piper's a huge
Okay,
fan.
I expected Piper to be interested. That's what I said.
Yeah. I actually during the first campaign, there were like so many books about werewolves that came out that she organized a werewolf stream.
I remember that actually. I don't know if I actually saw you because I was only there for part of that day, but I remember that actually.
Yeah. So basically, it's about this girl, and since her parents have been killed during this war, she's been left with her younger brother, whom she decided to protect at all costs. She is actually aspiring to become the leader of the pack, so she can do so. It's a pack that is like situated in a very dangerous area where there are many rogues, a lot of trespassings, many different dangerous people appear, and she would love to be there. She wants to be there just in case something happens, so she doesn't one day get the news that her brother is gone or something like that. So in the first book, we were mostly focusing on what it actually means to become the alpha, the leader of the pack, and with that, her trainer, her mentor, was pretty much helping her with a side story. In the second book, we were focusing on her and Jesse's growth, like physical, emotional, and everything, because they undergo a very rough training. Right? There's also going to be a lot of like wolf action, and. Towards the end of the book, Lena, being a teenage girl, she's just gonna wander somewhere where she's not supposed to be, and that's gonna like bring her into trouble. And why the book is called the Cursed Child is the most important part of it. It's because the pack becomes a home to a new trainee werewolf. That's been surrounded by different rumors, different stories about how dangerous he can be. And Lena needs to figure out whether it's true because it could endanger her own pack, and she doesn't want any of that. So it's going to be a challenge for her, in not only physically, but also like relationship wise. Again, that's one of the reasons why the whole story is called Bonds, because she's creating new relationships as she goes, whether it's like friends, family, enemies, rivals, it's all there. The book is completely like black and white. I'm sorry, in manga-ish style. So it's like a manga and Western comics hybrid. It's gonna stay black.
Interesting, actually. I say actually a lot. That does not mean I'm saying that I don't expect it to be. This is how I speak.
That's okay. Oh, you mean the fact that it's a hybrid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I like both styles depending on how they are.
Gotcha. So it's gonna stay like I would like to continue with the black and white. This is a second book, so with the third book, we're even considering doing the hardcover, but we shall see about that. Previous book, which is also available on this campaign in digital and traditional form, was 72 pages with some like mini comic story called Mudman. And this book is 77 pages. And again, if we manage to cross 10K, which is another stretch goal that we would like to reach, we would like to like add another mini chapter of Comic of Mudman. Well, like on the previous campaign, I was also introducing the characters. So as you can see, Lena Jensen, Jesse Jensen, and Rick Taylor. And in this book, we added Liam Wilson and Del Lucas as 2 new characters. In book 3, I would like to implement a few more characters, which are going to be like the main notion group for the whole story. Most of the tiers on the campaign are accompanied by the mini prints. So these 2 mini prints are going to be part of many perks. One of them is like natural wolf type. Second one is called the Moon Goddess, which for now it's more of a deity. It is something abstract, but towards the end of the whole story, in the later books, she's actually going to become a very important part, not only of culture and history, but also of a single human's fate. There are also some traditional pieces on the campaign, specifically these brown sketch cards, which are created on brown paper by black markers. And to add some contrast, I used white Sakura gel pen. So these are now, and then there are those negative sketch cards, which are tied to the side story, origin story written by Red Gaze. And they are made on a black paper done by white gel pen. It was more of an experiment, and I would like to try how it would look, and I liked it. But these are momentarily sold out, so the brown ones are pretty much only available. And then
At least they're selling then, right?
Say it again.
At least they sold then.
Yeah,
positive.
Yeah, it was actually really cool because I made a very limited number of those. I wasn't really sure about those, and they went like hotcakes. So I'm very happy about that. And then when it comes to the traditional art, pretty much all of them are gone except the bottom middle one, which is the impersonation of Liam Wilson. He's also going to be one of the most important characters in the story in the future books. And the very last traditional that is unfortunately also gone, but it's going to be implemented as a stretch goal. I'm going to show it a little bit later. It's called the Defenders. And it was original art, 20 by 30 inches, which was pretty good, pretty big. Then next, I would like to tell you more about some perks come along with a book called Bond's Exile. It's a short story written by Red Gaze. It's 22 pages. I decided to illustrate it as well. So there are going to be miniature illustrations. And it talks about the origin story of one of the most important characters in the story, about the cursed child, actually. And the reader is going to be able to learn where he came from, the abilities, why he's the cursed child, and so on. This story is like a heart piece to me because first of all, I really dig this character, and second of all, I remember I just gave Gaze the skeleton of what he basically needed, and he came back to me with a gem. So I was just reading through the story, and I was like blown away. So I really believe that many people who will back this will dig it too. This is the cover, as you can see. This is the cover of Exile. And then we are at stretch goals, which first of them we already crossed, which is the exclusive glossy collectible trading card. Many people say the trading cards are okay, everybody puts them on a campaign, but during the first campaign we put similar trading card on. It was called the Alpha card. Front is artwork and the name, and the back consists of what is their function in the pack and the abilities.
And I have to comment on the comment in chat because we've seen so many of these campaigns not really put a lot of effort into shipping and not package stuff well and stuff. And Glinzer is pointing out how wonderful loved your shipping.
Yeah, this is pretty much the box where the first book came in. And if depending on how the campaign goes, we would really love to go the same way and just do the boxes again.
Solid. I had to point that out because anytime I can point out when one of the campaigns is going, above and beyond what all the others are. I try to bring that to people's attention.
Yeah. We just were like we wanted to please like our backers because we really do think they deserve it. And another important thing we were trying to do in as a part of our brand is first we finish the product and then we offer it to people so they don't have to wait extremely long time to get it, So I think it's fair to all people who backed so they don't have to like wait for the product itself. But as I was mentioning about these trading cards, well, the first one was the Alpha card. Now it's the Zeta card because that's another very important function in the pack. As I mentioned earlier, Bonds is like a whole complex story which is going to consist of at least 10 books. So by the end of the 10th book, you're going to have a collection of all the ranks in the pack. You will know like how they serve, and you will know like what their abilities are. I think it's going to be really cool because you will just be able to embrace the whole werewolf thing that I'm trying to do. Next one is the Mudman. I know many people aren't very like they don't know what Mudman is. Why is it connected to Bonds? It is because by the end of first book we learned that little Jesse, Lena's brother, is a very big fan of comics himself, and he's actually reading a comic within a comic, and it's called Mudman. So that's why
a little inception going on, huh?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So we did.
It's not necessarily a bad thing. So I was complaining.
I think it's actually a very original idea. I don't know how many people did this, and we just wanted to like play with the thought of it. Like, let's try it. It's gonna be fun. And we just decided to do the short story about what little Jessie was actually reading, and it was the story of Mudman and Indigenous Jones. And I think it was kind of funny because we were supposed to like squeeze the story into like 6 or 7 pages, and we would like to continue with that over here too. The Mudman continues, the legend continues. Then at 15K, we would like to do stickers, round stickers of the three main characters that are gonna like follow us with Bonds through the story going on. And as I mentioned earlier, at 20K, we would like to add another mini print, which is the Defenders mini print, so everybody can actually have a chance to have their own 20 by 30, but in a small version, Defenders at home. So that's pretty much.
It looks really badass. And I always get interested in what extras and what stretch goals campaigns have, because I've seen campaigns just have amazing stretch goals and do them beautifully. And I've seen campaigns try to put up all these stretch goals, and they put up so much stuff that by the time they get to several of them, they're actually losing money on almost every sale.
Yeah,
so it's like a balance. You have to do it well, but you have to think through and be logical and intelligent with it. And your stuff seems really thought out and going through really specific points. And that's what I'm kind of interested in here and finding interesting is I'm seeing a lot more intention and thought than I've seen in a lot of them.
Yeah, we actually had to put a lot more thought into like the whole campaign overall, because this campaign is going to be shipped from over here from Europe. So we didn't want to chance doing extreme amount of different stretch goals and stuff, not knowing how the fulfilling is going to go. Of course, if it goes smoothly, and we decide to continue like this, which is like next campaign, I'm just going to go wild. So.
I swear that's not you. I haven't hardly slept in days.
That's okay. That's really okay.
I'm like going, no, I don't want to go out in the middle of this day. I'm interested in B. It doesn't look good.
That's really all right. Yeah, I might actually join you in a bit because over here it's like 1:30 almost. So yeah, it's kind of late.
My best friend I talk to every day is over in England, so I deal with the time difference all the time. So
yeah. So I suppose when it's like afternoon for you, you're all like, oh, and they're like,
I don't know. He's kind of weird time frame anyways, but that's because he takes care of his mom. So he's up a lot of the night prepping stuff for her for the next day a lot of the time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah, it's just, I guess it's different for every one of us. Well, I don't know what to say. Maybe a little bit about the tiers. That's pretty much all about the campaign. When it comes to the tiers, we really tried to make it so everybody can choose whatever they want and whatever they maybe can afford. So we decided to put like 2 digital tiers on the campaign. The first one is called the Puppies. The second one is called the Teen. Puppy is just the second book, and with Exiled in a form of PDF, and the Teen is coming along with the first book as well for $12. So basically, we're getting more than 150 pages, so that's really cool. Then you have the printed versions, the printed tiers, which is the Big Bad Wolf, which is single book. One thing that I'm really trying to do with the tiers is what you see in the thumbnail is what you're getting, so that's it. It should pretty much be condensed over there. So Big Bad Wolf is just a printed book. Old Lone Wolf is the previous version. So Bonds the Drive. Then you have the Ita Warrior, that's the second book coming along with 2 mini prints. Then you have the Wolf Twins and Double Howl. Wolf Twins are 2 copies of Bonds 2. Double Howl is book 1 and book 2. Then you have the Ita Warrior Full, which comes along book 2, 2 mini prints, and printed stapled version of Exiled Story, which is like 22 pages or so. Then we have the Zeta General and Gamma Wolf, which comes along with traditional art. Zeta General comes with the sketch card, very, very individual, very original. I'm trying not to do the sketch card that look similar or the same. So each one of them is very, very original. And the Gamma Wolf comes with a formerly mentioned traditional art piece. And then we have the last tier, which is called Wolf Yourself or Go Wolf Yourself. And it's basically your own personal character sheet, which is you're gonna become a part of the Sapphire Peninsula and My Werewolves, because based on fillable form that I'm gonna send you and you're gonna send me back all the data filled and the picture attached to it, I'm just gonna draw it all traditionally on a paper. I'm gonna draw you as a person and your wolf. Then I'm gonna scan the traditional art, put it in a computer, color it, add all the information that you filled up, and create your own custom-made character sheet, which is gonna get printed and gonna be packaged all nicely, along with the traditional art and second book. Basically all the goodies that are available on the campaign, and it's gonna be delivered to you. And as a cherry on the top, it's gonna be sent to you by email. So in case you want to print that character sheet on some bigger format, you always can. Or if you want to put it somewhere on social media, it's completely up to you. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about Bonds to the Cursed Child. So if you're interested, if you want to ask something now,
I'm not sure what to ask. I'm just kind of sucking it in right now to think over it later. Because I've been broke as hell, but I want to support everyone I can. So I'm being hyper careful and studying each book, and maybe get to back 1 or 2 when we get our taxes.
Yeah, that's okay. That's really okay. Even the fact that I could come and talk about it a little bit, maybe even practice the pitch. And the fact that all these great people are watching and actually might spread a word is going to help the campaign itself a lot.
Yeah, and the link for the campaign, can you toss it backstage so I can put it up there?
Of course.
I'm kind of slacking on that. I should have done that already.
I'm going to put it also in the chat, but unfortunately I don't have the range, so I really can't do much about it.
That's fine. I've got it here.
Sweet.
So if anybody wants to try to back this, throw her some support, or even share the campaign out and about, there's the link for that. And we should have done that already, but I'm not all there together today. So I decided to start the whole thing with a breathing attack, so then I just kind of went meh as my functional point.
Hopefully it's gonna get better soon. Yeah.
And it's just crazy lately. We all have those days and those periods.
Yeah, honestly, this wasn't a very, very happy period of time for me either. You know, because the illness that I mentioned a little bit before, and in combination with the day job, you know, and the streaming promotion and everything. And but the good news is,
I get that.
Yeah.
I have been so far behind on everything I've been working on for the last year because I've been mostly taking care of my mom and my medical since we lost Dad last year. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I'm not going home until after Easter because Easter actually is falling on the anniversary of when he passed away this year. So
That's kind of harsh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I'm gonna stay and help her out. So, well, you gotta be a good kid sometimes, right? Even if you are old. God, I don't want to think how old I'm getting.
Yeah. You just reminded me today's call with my dad, with my brother as well, where we were just making fun of him, and I just can't imagine it any other way.
I have these conversations with my mom on different social medias where we are, and I swear people think we hate each other or something, and it's like we'll sit there and. One day we were just going at each other for like 2 hours, and somebody finally hyped into the group. Do you two even like each other? And before anybody could say anything, I said, "Well, technically, she's my mom, so no."
Wow. Yeah, I have pretty much the same with my bro. We usually have this habit of having conversation on social media only with the gifs, and we completely understand each other with the gifs and pictures, and everybody else is like watching it like tennis. So
I got bored the other night, and I decided I was going to have some fun at Mom's expense, honestly. So I spent like forever posting all these different things about short people and tagging her in them, saying I found her. And at one point, I reposted this old video of this little tiny dog with itty-bitty legs trying to jump up on a short chair and falling on its back. And said that it reminded me of watching Mom try to get around the house.
Wow.
So she's sitting there going, "What did you know about it? Just the joy of watching you try to prattle around, Shorty."
Yeah, we have actually the exact opposite thing, because I'm like 6.1 and my bro is like almost head taller. So yeah, I'm the shorty. The two of us.
You said you're how tall?
6.1.
Is that actually in feet or is that metric?
That's feet. In metric, I'm like 187. I'm very tall.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not short. That's really tall for a woman.
Yeah,
I'm above average for a woman, and I'm between 5'8" and 9", so I get that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, my bro is like so tall that he needs to like bend down whenever he's walking through the doorway.
Yeah, I get that part. No, it's kind of fun to me because my mom and my sister are really short, and I'm not, and so it's kind of have a little fun at their expense.
Yeah, but what do you have the relatives for, right?
You know, what's the point of having relatives if you don't torment them? I mean,
just a little bit.
Just a lot. I mean,
you can also tell like the good people like, what are you working on right now?
But yeah, that actually looks really cool there for me, and I just think it's a really cool idea overall how you're doing it. And no, I don't say that often to most people, so
thank you.
It's not, I don't sit there and compliment everybody. I'm not that nice. I mean, okay, that sounded wrong and terrible. I know.
That's okay.
I'm too OCD and autistic. I'm too blunt and honest. Okay.
That's okay. So, that's really okay.
I have had a couple where they're doing interviews with me. And I'm like, what are you trying to tell me? And they're like, kind of stopped to look at me like, oh, what? It's like, it's not that I don't care. It's that I don't understand you. They look at me worse. It's like,
yeah. I kind of get that a lot since I'm not a native speaker. Sometimes, you know, people have problems with the accent and stuff. So
the accents don't get to me. But again, I talk to people all over the globe all the time. I got too many friends in England and Australia to not be used to weird accents. I mean,
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to to get better, by daily speaking. I pretty much speak English daily life, so I hope it's getting better.
Sound fine to me, but
Sweet. And I don't know if I mentioned the genre, because many people have been asking what kind of genre it is, but the problem is I really can't put it in a genre because it is filled with everything you might actually
fantasy.
Yeah, it's
That's about
adventure.
as good as you're gonna get. It's because it's based in mythology.
True, but I try to put all the aspects of whatever you can get, like the relationship points, the adventure of searching, and finding the action, because of course, the werewolves, it needs to come with that. There's gonna be a pinch of horror, like gruesome parts, because again, like we're talking wolves, and there's gonna be something scary and crazy going on just in a following book. So I would definitely hop on the train now. And later on, as they're getting older, of course there's going to be maybe some love interest, so I'm trying to put all I can for everybody, so I think everybody can find their own sweetness, in what they're reading. So hopefully people will like it.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear some of the stuff and catch up on some of the campaigns going on, honestly, with how busy things have been. So, no, I'm really glad I got to do this with you, and
yeah, thank you for having me on.
Much love for Lutz sending you over to me,
Mm.
But
Okay.
it does look interesting. I've got the links out, and hopefully people spread that around because it does look really badass, actually.
Thank you. Just today, I was thinking about opening up my laptop, because the whole Bond story, 1 to 10th book, is outlined in form of chapters, and each chapter is summarized in a form of, I don't know, 5 to 8 sentences. So I know what I want to tell in that particular chapter, but usually I just sit down and write the chapter into comic pages one by one as I go. So I was just thinking today, that maybe it would be the best time to just sit down and start writing book 3.
Push it.
Yeah,
get that work done.
That's gonna be super awesome. There's gonna be basically Lena will encounter her first nemesis, her first enemy, and also is gonna experience her most important birthday, and there's a good chance that there's something very scary and unfortunate gonna happen. So fingers crossed.
All right. Right now, Quentin, we are showing off this beautiful, beautiful campaign, and I am completely frozen on things to ask about it because I am so overexhausted. My brain's not working, so I'm feeling like a bit of an idiot here.
That's really okay.
But it's gorgeous work. It really is.
Thank you.
I think I've seen you before, but I think it's been a while.
Yeah, I pretty much appeared on scene in 2020-ish, second half. That's when I started promoting the first book, but it actually got out on Indiegogo. I think in January. Yeah,
I was in a lot of the promotion groups and all that in 2020, so I probably did see you there. There's so much going on in my life, it probably completely left me that was a part of that time.
Yeah, it could be because that's when we were trying to push the first book. Yeah. So
I'm trying to think. I thought when he sent over, I had you on my follows. I thought so. I mean, yeah. I think it was just a question of busy and clashing times. But yeah. I can see the action well in shadows. The thing is, I'm not usually a fan of black and whites because my eyes have trouble tracking it because I'm really light sensitive. So without the colors, it kind of blends together.
Gotcha.
But I can actually see the shadows and actually tell what this is on this one. So that says something to me.
Yeah, I'm really trying to put a lot of effort into shading. And I'm actually doing a double shading. The first one is with cross hatching tool. So those are the black parts that you can see, and then there are the typical manga-ish screen tones that I'm trying to use. Also, like a bunch of textures. I'm really trying to go out of my way to make it a little bit more realistic than a quickly made manga style. So that's why I like to call it a hybrid.
I get that.
Honestly, the only matter why I would think that like bonds would be perfect in color is that later on when the group that I would like to introduce with the third book, like the complete group where Lena is going to be hanging around most of the time, is going to consist of so many wolves that it's going to be difficult to distinguish them in black and white comic. Like imagine like you have a bunch of wolves sitting next to each other, and you're supposed to determine who is who. Like I didn't say it, but originally Bond started as literature, but since I'm not a native speaker, I switched to a media that was more comfortable for me and where I was more at home. And while I was writing it, each wolf had their own color. Like Lena's black, brownish. Jesse is like very pale, almost like blonde type of a wolf, and it's just going to be difficult to draw it in black and white. But I decided to add some marks on some of them, so it's going to be easier. We shall see.
That makes sense. And like I said, that's the thing about comics. It's one of the great things is it's a very good medium to communicate to both sides. No matter the language and stuff, it's easier to translate and stuff like that because there's less speech and more visual.
Yeah.
And so I think in that way, it actually is something that can kind of bring people together easier than some of the other mediums.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Bone, you are right. Some things are definitely better in black and white. It's just my personal thing is that I struggle with it. So it's got to be like off the chart good black and white for me to like it,
Like for me, the paradox is as what Quinton is exactly writing over here. I'm not a huge fan of black and white movies, to be honest, because that's where the magic is lost for me, because you need that colorful depth. But when I'm reading comics, it's actually easier for me and more entertaining for me to read black and white.
That's kind of interesting, because with movies, I'm kind of agree. I kind of think it loses some of that to me, and honestly, a lot of the more beloved old classics I've never been that big of a fan of, and I could really offend a lot of people with that easily and say I think one of the most overrated movies is Casablanca. I've watched it, and I don't see where everyone gets this like stellar, amazing storyline from. Is it an okay movie? Are there good parts in it? Yeah, but it's not over the chart writing,
Yeah.
But I'd make an exception every Halloween, because every Halloween I watch Young Frankenstein and I watch Arsenic and Old Lace. And they may be black and white, but they're still freaking fun,
Yeah, I think I've seen a few black and white movies that were actually good. Again, one of them was from Japanese like culture. I think it was called Seven Samurai. I think so. Yeah, and that was like very entertaining, but also like from US production. But they need to have something very very eye catching for me to stay tuned.
And that's why I said that those two are basically my exemptions, because Arsenic and Old Lace is just awesomely a crazy over the top comedy Halloween horror kind of story, and it kind of entertains me that Cary Grant hated making it, because it's actually one of the movies I think he actually did the best acting the part in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, with those older movies, you had to like rely on the magic of scene makers and actual actors, like they had to put all their best into it on their own without using like extremely special effects. So
yeah, and so it has to come through the characters, which is why Young Frankenstein worked, because Gene Wilder always was really good at the overexpressive eyes and behaviors and stuff, and that really plays well in black and white,
Yeah, I can imagine that. I haven't seen the movie, but when you're talking about the overly expression, overly exaggerated expression and stuff like that, I always imagine like Jim Carrey and.
And I never liked Three Stooges. I thought it was immature and stupid as a kid.
Haven't seen that too, probably. The problem
That's
I'm having
the
with
well-known, the guys that are always beating each other up.
Oh, okay. I might have heard about that. See, the problem I'm having with the movies, like mostly recently, is before 2020, I wasn't speaking in English, and to many like English speaking people, and like now I'm just hearing a bunch of movies, bunch of songs, bunch of stuff, books, all in English, and many of them I've seen, read, whatever, but I read them in translation in my language, and that's why I'm like, oh, I haven't seen it. Then I look it up, and I was like, oh, it's this, okay.
That can get interesting. Translations and reshootings and dubs and that stuff are always an interesting counterbalance. It gets interesting because I watch res movies, so I watch stuff that's in like different native tongues and stuff, and I only know part of my native language, and I don't know the other tribes, so that does involve having to watch some of the captions and stuff like that, or listen to some parts. And I'll sit there and watch movies where they'll bring somebody Lakota or somebody Sioux in, and they'll have them say something. I'll go, "That's not the correct pronunciation. That's the wrong word," and my mom will start laughing.
Yeah. I'm pretty much having the same problem over here because, like in Slovak or Czech language, sometimes they just do a very crappy translation or dubbing. I remember seeing Deadpool like this, and oh my god, when I saw Deadpool the first time, in original language and everything, I was like hyped. I was thrilled. It was amazing. It was funny. It had everything because Ryan Reynolds just put all that energy in because he was in love with that character, right? And then I watched it in Czech dubbing, and I was like mortified. I was like disgusted because the I haven't heard more flat toned dubbing in my whole life. Like that voice actor didn't put anything into it. It was I couldn't. I just couldn't. I think I managed to watch till about a half till I switched back into English.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the old horror movies, and you get the ones from like Japan and other places, and the translations were always cringe because they were never synced to the mouth right. They were always the wrong voice, and they're like speaking like 5 seconds out of tune and stuff like that. It's like you just sit there watching it going, well, that's fucky. I mean,
Yeah,
that doesn't make any sense. You're ruining the moment, right?
Yeah, and with Japanese, that's like extreme itself, because like even when you're taking like anime, right? I don't know how much you're a fan of anime, but I'm
in a stream group that's called the Knights of the Anime Roundtable. So
gotcha.
That'll give you a clue.
Yeah, so you like anime, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like when you hear original Japanese dubbing of anime, that's like completely a different level because that's their culture, that's something they love, and you can tell, and then
and some get good voice actors, and they're fine. The Americanized very, and some of them, the Americanized voice actors just don't have the feeling,
I know.
And it's hit or miss. The recent one, Spy Family, I actually thought the American dub group did well with.
I don't know. I think I was just very unlucky when it comes to this.
Yeah. But yeah, most of them, it just doesn't quite hit the right inflections. That or the companies that are translating them have different biases, and they cut a whole crap load of stuff out because they think it's offensive. And so you're sitting there going, well, you changed that, you cut that out. I mean, there's some I get why they cut certain lines out of some of the books to translations. Like going back to when I was younger and they did Kedocha, they cut out part of one of his scenes in his stuff when he was doing this. Well, this is about preteens. The part they cut out in the book, he actually indicated he wanted to do a school shooting. And they cut that. And this was before even the Columbine era. Yeah. And I get why they cut it, though. Because that's one that would jack that rating in both countries.
I'm still conflicted about whether they should do it or not, but
I am usually, I would say generally no. I understand on a few things because of certain translations to certain age groups, but beyond that, I think it's a no.
yeah. I also experienced the phenomenon like recently. My most favorite anime ever is Bleach, and you can only imagine the range of voices, doing like those multiple characters over there, and then you just switch it into English, and you realize that they had like four or five voice actors that were doing 50 people, and that's just it just turns me off.
I think part of the American problem is we still don't actually have a lot of actors who will do anime dubs and stuff like that unless it's something they're really interested in or something they want to do, or it's something for a certain studio they work with and they think they'll give them an in or stuff. So usually on those, you have the same about 10 actors in almost all of them.
Yeah, or it helps to boost the movie. Like you just reminded me of Guardians of Galaxy, where Vin Diesel was doing Groot, right? Like
what did he filmed 5 entire words for the whole movie and made millions and millions.
I know, and that's the thing. Like they should try to use like people who are more from industry, and less of a name. I don't know.
And the thing is, he did. Okay, they offered him the same thing they offered all the other stars, a percentage of it, and then they paid most of them the same basic price on all the characters, and then a percentage of the movie. But he didn't do anything hardly except for voice a few words in a studio room.
Yeah.
And share like crap the movie he was doing. But he still got the same other money, and when you broke it down, he got almost $10 million a word.
I know. And you know what for? Because
I don't blame him for taking it. I don't blame him for taking it one bit. Do you?
Well, okay, if he was offered, or if he wanted it and they agreed with it, okay, I'm not gonna say anything. It's just like he got paid so much just for
garish as fuck, but at the same time, I can't say I wouldn't take it if I was given that chance,
I mean, like what he was given for 5 words in one movie would probably last me for years.
That would be my life and then some. If I had that much money, I could take care of my mom, her home, rebuild this property, get the fencing and security she needs, fix up my house, settle it, all this stuff, and build my studio and actually start hiring people to do all my projects I want to do.
Exactly. And
here
you have people who come and say 5 words. So
that's the thing is I'm not. I know there's issues in Hollywood and I'll call them out, but I'm also not anti every actor either. And Vin Diesel, while there's things I don't like that he's done and said, overall, I think he's a more decent, center, respectful guy.
Like I'm not judging him on that. I'm just like saying that studios.
Yeah. Oh, it was insane that they even offered him that. It was absolutely insane.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like sometimes the companies and studios are trying to like lure people on famous names. Like remember in Frozen where Idina Menzel was doing the voice of Elsa, and she did tremendous work with the singing, and everything. And during the I don't know what it was, the Oscars, Grammy, I don't even know. I don't remember. But since she was like unknown back at the time, they even like messed up her name, and that's the thing. Like you can have a person which is less known who's gonna do like fantastic job, and then you have like where you need some kind of like push, you need to like a little pump up, and so you're just gonna use some famous name. But I'm reading in the chat that Vin Diesel did it to overcome his grieving, which I didn't really know. So I would have to probably read a little bit further.
Yeah, I don't know for sure the story behind that, but if you have some link on that, you can send us. I'll look into it, definitely, because I like knowing facts on things. And
yeah,
I don't know what Vin Diesel's been through. I don't know what was going on with him at that time because I was going through a lot at that time, and I don't keep up often with a lot of stuff. And welcome, Random. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, I am one of those, I look at things very pragmatically in the center on things. I think we need to just find ways to understand each other, generally speaking, in society.
Yeah,
But I also just want to share and promote and see crazy stuff. And oh yeah, that was in that time frame, wasn't it, Quentin?
Oh, right.
That one to me, Paul Walker's death bothered me in the same way that looking back, you know, like and then it completely Dean, Mr. Rebel Without a Cause, died the same way that his character did, pretty much doing the same racing. And I think things like that are tragic because they play these characters and they don't even see the problems in the character in the movie, and they do the same stupid stuff. And I don't think either of them were bad people. I think they just got swept up, you know?
I'm trying to think because the similar thing could be said about Chadwick Boseman, you know, and with the Black Panther, and like without him, it's not the franchise in the movie anymore, you know.
Well, that I understand. I'm not talking about when people die by the same things that were destructive to the characters they play. It's sad on a different level because every tragedy has different ways it affects us. That one to me shows that they were in that. They saw the culture and they didn't see through it. And it, to me, just kind of breaks the heart, you know?
Yeah. And who knows? Who knows what actually happened there, so.
But, yeah, I mean, it's like if you look at a lot of these, it doesn't matter how clean living somebody is. If they're in music or Hollywood, everyone automatically posts it's always drugs every time they die.
No, that doesn't be necessary.
And they're going, that's not true. Just because they're in Hollywood or rock and roll or something doesn't mean they're automatically doing that stuff.
I just assume they have probably a little easier access to all of that, you know, and sometimes it's just difficult to deny the temptation. Of course, it can be anything. You can be tired, you know, like, okay, he died like driving in a car crash, right? It can be, generally talking about car crashes, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can be tired. You know, imagine you've been driving for hours. You can be just tired. You could have drunk a little bit, whatever. You know, you can have emotional stuff. You just do not notice. It can be somebody else's fault. Like, stuff happens, you know. It's just, it doesn't necessarily need to be like drugs. That's true.
Yeah. I remember when I was younger and the original lead singer of Drowning Pool passed away, and all these people made this deal going, oh, it had to have been all this drug stuff, everything else. It's like, he had a congenital heart issue that flared up on stage. The heat of the stage killed him. He didn't do anything to himself, but everyone assumed it was drugs because he was a rock singer. Mm-hmm. And that bothered me then. Those kinds of cases still do, because it's pretty twisted to just assume that of people. And hello, Vic.
Hi, Vic.
I know we kind of got off on tangents. That's easy to do when you're on these streams.
That's really fine by me. Like we can pretty much talk stuff, you know. I think we covered Bonds pretty well, and I'm just like having fun talking about. Yep. Movies.
And I will share that link out one more time for those who joined. This is the comic we've been sharing and promoting this stream, and very badass art, very well thought out campaign, and very pretty even packaging to put it all in.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, we're trying to do our best, and basically, like almost all of the money that has been raised on a campaign, where we were trying to put back into the campaign in any form of or shape. You know, if it wasn't like directly the following campaign, we are having different other projects that we're working on currently. I was helping out with Sunsworn Wings of Vengeance. There's more Sunsworn coming in the future. We are having we are planning to do some projects for children. You know, one of them is very like emotion based for kids to understand their emotions. One of them is a little bit goofier. It's going to be fun. But like I said, we're just trying to give it back to backers in a different shape or form, but it's always there.
And I actually do have Sunsworn, so.
Sweet. Me too.
So I actually know what you're talking about with that. And like I said, it to me, the whole indie culture, the fact that we can help build each other up, that we can help all of these outsiders build these little campaigns and these little companies and everything. To me, it's a whole unique culture we have now, thanks to the internet, that I think is absolutely amazing, honestly.
Yeah. Well, it's still a struggle because it's indie. It's not a huge company. It's not a big thing. And many times what happens is maybe if you have a project, that has a chance to like succeed, to become something bigger, but you don't have the routes, you don't have the ways how to get more eyes on it. It's just unnecessarily doomed, and that sometimes is kind of sad. I've seen a bunch of projects that I found like amazing, that I think would deserve a lot more backers.
And there's the ones that I can go back to some of the stuff I've dealt with, because I've done a couple art pieces and covers and stuff for a few things as colorist stuff. And the one that was to me absolutely the most fun to work with was working with Doc doing the tilt stuff, and working with Lenore. And he's not doing those anymore because of things going on with family. He has to take care of his kid more now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what happens and stuff. But the first two books were great, and I got to work on it, and I got to work in it, and I miss it. I miss working with him. I miss working with the group, and I wish it kept going.
Maybe a little bit later when the kids are, a little bit older.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that happens too.
He's one where I was doing some projects for Lasmat, and Doc bought a bunch of the different stuff I did, even this wood piece that was painted with a mural of Elaz's characters and stuff, and he gave them to his kid and did this whole post of the kid hugging him and stuff, and it made me about cry.
Aww.
So I miss hanging out with those boys, honestly. I miss a lot of the stuff when I had more time to work on the projects, because it's something special about when you're in these small groups and these tight-knit indie groups, you're interacting with each other so much more.
Yeah, that's true. Like we have a similar group like that on our of our own. So I know what you're talking about. It's just fun. Lately,
I still talk to Lenore all the time. Me and her like to smack trolls around together.
Yeah, we talk a little bit less because life stuff and huge changes in our lives happen lately. So mostly concerning like time change. So we just like fell out of touch a little bit, but hopefully we're gonna be able to come, like to bring it back in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and that's just it. It's so much fun to do these projects. It's so much fun to see people grow and become bigger and better and more expanded and more in detail, and really see who they are and what they're doing take off. And I feel like I've seen that for a lot of these people in this community over the last 3 years,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's just like unfortunately, every person is different. Some people actually have time to work on project and hang around in the community. I for myself, I cut myself off a little bit because seriously, whenever I came from work, I just like dug myself in drawing, bonds, because I really wanted to get it done, and that's why I haven't been around like recently so much, and I missed it. I missed a huge part of it.
And that's what's been hard for me, is because it was in the end of 20, at the end of the summer, when the big Drake show hits the Midwest.
Mm-hmm.
It hit at the strongest point in the city I live in. And it trashed the city so bad I had to come here and stay with my parents for a few months and help out while my husband was dealing with rebuild, the mold, the stuff that was reacting to me, all that stuff because of my medical. And it's been ever since then. Every time I try to get back into things, every time I try to start interacting with all the groups again, something happens or I have to take care of someone. And so I have all these projects I have half done, but I won't run the campaigns until I know I'm going to be able to release them, And it's frustrating when you're so busy, when you're always busy, when you're always trying to do stuff, when you've got a million projects.
I know. I exactly know what you're talking about.
It's I work full-time doing photography and nature work. So I'm out hiking and tracking eagles and helping do conservation and stuff a good portion of the day. And I do all the making stuff and selling stuff and helping take care of mom and helping work all these charities and stuff. And most people have no idea how many jobs I actually do. And that most days I'm pretty much working from 4 to midnight most days.
Yeah. Well, it always come at some form of an expense. You know, you like I often said it, like I kind of wish like sometimes that if only the day had like 48 hours. You know, like there's
No, we'd still never have enough time, right?
yeah, there always would be something, always.
But it was really nice to get to see this. And like I said, send me links. When you post the stuff, tag me on it, and I'll try to share it around as much as I can to the promotion groups and stuff over the next few. And anybody who wants to throw some support, give her back her stuff, the link's in the chat. If you want to share, promote it. That always helps in this community too. And just remember, we're helping each other and growing together. I have no idea. I do not remember which ads to play at the end, and Pops' internet is down.
Oops.
His power went out. So I'm trying to remember what I could play at the end here for the ending trailers, and I've got to go into here to the brand. So if you guys
want,
give me
we can
little patience, because I'm not exactly great with this part.
If you want, we can play the trailer again.
Well, there's a couple things that I'm supposed to try to play if he's not here, and it's the big deal is. He's got the ones that are the sponsors he played at the beginning, so
you need to ask him to rename the videos according to how they're supposed to be played, like ending and stuff.
He's got them all named his way, which is great for him. I'm not that together, and I think I can get away on most of this as long as I didn't get my normal drop in either, and you weren't backstage, so I think his internet went out while he was still doing those trailers at the opening. Because he did post to the group that we're in that his internet was out, so oops, right? Actually, his power's out. The blizzard that was traveling through hit him.
Damn.
So I'm figuring this out real quick if I can and do the little closing. And I am sorry, guys, I'm a little scatterbrained on this. I am very, very ditzy sometimes. And I'm going to go for this at least to throw Doc some support. So. Come on.
Comic Books for Kids provides comic books to kids in hospitals and cancer centers across the U.S. It's a place where we can all work together to make sure every child has a comic book. 100% of all proceeds go towards the kids. It's about making a difference, and while they're in the hospital, allowing them to fly like a superhero, battle dragons, or rescue teddy bears. We are in every state in the country and now support over 160 hospitals. Every month, we add more.
Visit cb4k.org.